Sister Bhen.
Shanti. Then over to you now.
Yes.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti. First of all, lots and lots of loving remembrances from Madhuban. Your home, Baba's home, the home of the whole Brahmin family. And I know that many souls are yearning to come back home. And I'm so glad to be able to connect with you from Madhuban. For the last few years, I have a duty here in Madhuban. I'm coordinating the whole environment, health and safety for water improvement, the kitchen, health and hygiene improvement. And the work was slowed down during COVID. But in the recent times, as things have opened up, things have started to happen. And so then attention is needed here in Bharat. And I'm seeing, after the daddies have left, on the one side, you can say they physically left, but on the other side, there's a very deep experience of their subtle presence. Sometimes I go and sit in daddy's room here in Shakti Bhavan, and it almost feels like I'm sitting with daddy again. I can just feel the lightness of her presence, the truth and the silence of her being. And I feel like these ancestor souls, whose army has become very powerful now, are planning something. And in their planning, they're going to be accessible to us more than ever. I remember Jagdish Bhai many years ago in one of the Bhog messages after Jagdish Bhai passed away. And Jagdish Bhai had said, whenever you remember us and invoke us, we will come. And so I feel at this point in time, it's not a question of loss. It's a question that our ancestors and the souls who have renounced to create a pathway for us to move forward in, these souls have now taken on a more subtle form of support, which is actually much more unlimited. And just as Baba is only a thought away, these souls are also only a thought away. When I think of Daddy Janki, Daddy, I felt towards the end, didn't need a body to do service. She was serving in her sleep. She was, we would wake her up and she'd go, let me sleep. Baba's taking me on a tour somewhere. And you had this feeling that her body was just namesake here, but she was somewhere else. So I very much feel why I'm sharing this is because I feel that more than ever now, we have the subtle resources to help us become what Baba wants us to become. Because now all the ancestor souls are thought away, just like Baba. And I feel this topic of volcanic remembrance is very important because it has, Baba's been talking about it for quite a few years. And of course, many people have different interpretations of it. But today, what I'd like to do is take it up in a practical and doable way. And first of all, I'd like to talk about the context that has to be created that can create volcanic remembrance. In today's Bhog message, Sister Rukmini brought back the message, Baba talking about the Agni Kund, right? It's the Kund is the container and the the four kind of kund, the platform in which the fire grows. And Baba was seeing that some people's fire is strong and powerful, and some people's fire is weak. And so for me, very much this connection metaphorically with my quality of remembrance akin to how much the flame is burning brightly. Now, all of us know at some point in our lives, we have started a fire physically. And you know that it takes attention, a lot of attention in the beginning to get the fire growing from a small little flame to a roaring fire. And then you can just leave it with logs, and you have to keep filling it with logs to be able to keep the fire going at that level consistently. And I suppose that the question here for volcanic remembrance is to ask myself, how much attention am I actually giving to my yoga, my pilgrimage of remembrance? Because when we talk about an intense form, volcanic form, powerful form, what is the intensity in? The intensity is in the aspect of giving attention to something. And we've all heard this expression, wherever attention goes, energy flows. And so a consistent and constant and unbreakable attention to something is what starts to create its form of fire. And so, of course, on the pilgrimage of remembrance, it's the constant attention to myself as a bindu and to Baba as the bindu. That point form, that dot form, concentrating my energy so that that experience of lightness, love, and power increases. Now, you know, when we talk about the volcanic form, Baba has often used and described it as the form of light and might. Constant light and might. Something is only powerful when it's constant. And that's the key to intensity, is consistency. That flame is always burning brightly. It doesn't dim because of some influence or some water or something. It doesn't dim, but we keep it burning brightly. That's intensity. Now, I ask myself the question, what does it take? What's the preparation I have to make inside me so that I can create an environment in which my attention can stay focused? All of us have experienced this in our lives. You know, when you studying, for example, and you know that you have to become something, you're studying to pass an exam. At that stage, you're aware, I have to pass the exam, I have to become this, I have to gain marks. And that awareness of your aim starts to create a field of awareness, focused awareness, in which you can pay attention to what you have to do to pass your exam. And so in the same way, the first aspect of preparing for volcanic remembrance is reviewing my aim in Brahmin life. And I feel very deeply that in order for us to create the right environment, there has to be this deep concern and and awareness that it is now time to go home. I have to return home and take everyone with me. I always remember this scene in front of Avyakta Bap Dada when Daddy Janki was there. It was an Avyakta Murali in Shantivan. And Baba said, "Who's ready to go home?" And Daddy put her hand up. And Baba said to her, "Okay, you may be ready to go home, but how many have you made ready to go home? How many others have you made ready to go home?" And so I think at some very deep level, I have to tune into this, I'll call it a concern, I'll call it a kind of intensity of awareness that I have to go home. It's time to go home. I have to prepare myself to go home, and I have to help others to go home. Now, ask yourself the question now, what is your relationship with this concern of going home? Do you truly inside your heart have this one deep concern that I now have to return home? That concern has to be front and priority above everything else. Because it's only this feeling that I have to return home and I have to take everyone with me, help others with me to go home, that will enable me to stay focused in my awareness. Right now, many Brahmins, old or new, have deficit attention. People are complaining about remembrance, a lack of remembrance. Why? Because attention is being distracted. And in Baba's recent Murli, when Baba spoke about the two forms of Maya at this time, the royal form of carelessness and the royal form of laziness. And when you think about what carelessness is when the intellect does not understand the value of time. I haven't tuned in to the fact that it's time to go home. And so in my mind and in my awareness, there's still time. I've still got a bit more time left. Let me play around a bit more. Be a little bit naughty, be a bit more mischievous. Yeah, there's still time. And if my intellect hasn't understood the importance of time, it hasn't understood the importance of the cycle. It then hasn't understood fully the importance of what God has come to do. Because there's a very deep connection between time and thoughts and attention. When I deeply realize I am standing at the confluence age. At the confluence age, I am in every second with every thought, word, and activity accumulating for my future. I am creating my whole cycle now. And at the same time, I am preparing myself to return home. When that feeling stays with you very powerfully, your intellect stays on track. It stays focused. And laziness is just an intellect that doesn't exercise. So yes, Baba, I love you. But you know what? You can be there and I can sit here comfortably in my couch and love you from my couch. Right? So, it's a bit like a long distance relationship nowadays. It's very fashionable to have a long distance relationship. So we like to be comfortable first and then say to Baba, yeah, I'll just please myself in the feelings I have for Baba and the memories I have for Baba. But that love is not making me rise above my comfort zone. So laziness sometimes comes because there's the influence of various types of subtle forms of body consciousness. You know, at this time, what I see as services expanded, the influence of name and position, some kind of attention, recognition, the influence of sorrow, where I've experienced being insulted in some way in a relationship. That subtle sorrow still continues to influence my intellect, and sorrow will make my intellect lazy. So whatever it is that's not allowing my intellect to become the same as Baba, you know, when you love someone, you go to them. You will, जैसे कहते हैं ना हिंदी में, you कुर्बान जाते हैं. Kurban means you sacrifice something. You sacrifice your time. You sacrifice your sleep. You sacrifice the mother will sacrifice everything, her food to feed her child. So what am I sacrificing in this relationship with Baba? That's the proof of love. And of course, love grows when there is deep honesty inside. And when there is a commitment to completely finish all waste. There's only one thing that dilutes the power of love, and that is wastage. And so, you know, what is there still between me and Baba that is unresolved? What is still remaining that keeps me distant from Baba? For a few moments, I want you to just stop wherever you are. All of you will have seen that picture of Brahma Baba sitting on a swing. And there's a space on that swing next to him. And there's some mountains behind that swing. It's the swing that used to be in the area of the hut, Baba's hut. So just visualize Sakar Baba on that swing. And for a few moments, I'd like you to go and sit next to Sakar Baba. Baba invites you onto the swing with his drishti. And as you sit next to Sakar Baba, Baba doesn't say anything, but Baba's loving presence feels like an embrace. And in the presence of those loving vibrations, I'd like you to open up your heart in Baba's presence. Just open it up and allow anything old that you're holding on to be released. Could be worries, could be something in the past. So whatever you're holding on to in your heart, let that be released in the loving presence of Baba. And let Baba's love seep into your heart and melt any blockages, barriers. whatever you are, however you are, you belong to Baba now. Baba fully accepts you as you are. And you feel any curtain lifting. And your heart becoming a transparent diamond. And you sit next to the Father. Free and light. Me and my Baba. Nothing else in between. And you feel the lightness and power in this union that is so healing. And this loving embrace between you and Baba is an embrace for the whole world. All the souls of the world can be merged in this love. Om Shanti. You can feel how important it is to keep the heart, mind, and intellect light, so that there's no barriers or nothing being hidden from Baba. Because whatever is being hidden from Baba will only serve to become an obstacle that makes you careless or lazy at some point. So again and again, go and sit next to Sakar Baba and keep your feelings clean. This was Daddy Janki's first and foremost effort. The second is that the whole game of being able to keep our attention constant is about being able to switch from limited to unlimited. Limited to unlimited. And this means, what does this mean? This means taking myself out of gross feelings into subtle feelings quickly. Yeah? Many times we live in this soup of gross feelings, sensory feelings. And because we don't practice, we don't have a personal practice of becoming subtle, it takes time. And so if anything happens to us, we react, and then it takes us time to overcome that reaction. And why I'm saying this, because this is another preparation for the volcanic form. You know, you can't just click a switch and start a fire like that. The preparation for creating a fire is just as important as the fire itself. And so this second level of preparation. The first is keeping your feelings clean. The second is keeping your feelings unlimited. In these last 2 weeks, I've been spending time with Niwebai. You all saw him in the transmission. I was with him in Ahmedabad about 10 days ago. And I said to him, your body has been through many things. What are you doing right now to stay in the unlimited? Because surely the pain of the body, he had heart failure, almost with water in his lungs. He's had heart issues for many years. And of course, there are aspects where the body does pull. And Niwebai related something very, very beautiful. He talked about his personal practice of what he does to take his feelings into the unlimited every day. And he does this for the first half an hour of every day. And the benefit of this practice over a period of time means that he absolutely has no negative thought for anybody. It doesn't matter what form a person comes in front of him. He has this experience of being like a sun and just from an unlimited space, just giving souls what they need, but no negativity towards anyone. And so I asked him what he did. And he said the first thing he did was he invokes his experience of Sakar Baba, the first time he met Sakar Baba. And he goes into those feelings again, those early childhood days of being with Sakar Baba. And immediately that connection with Baba then lifts him into the subtle region where he meets his complete stage, the feeling of being complete with Avyakt Brahma. And then from there, he goes to Paramdham and becomes the dot with Shiv Baba. And he says sometimes he's joined by Dadi Komarka too. But the powerful feeling of being a master seed in Paramdham. And then as the master seed connects with the supreme seed, the feeling that the power of this connection is somehow supporting the whole physical universe. The sun, the moon, the stage of the earth. And from that place, the feeling that these rays of light and might are reaching the whole world. And automatically, he says, the different souls, the main instrument souls from each of the continents are emerged in front of him. They just move by. They're different souls each time. It's not like he's making an effort to remember them. But as the attention and the light and might spreads around the world, these souls just move by. And then he comes back into the awareness of the body and for 5 minutes gives the body light and might. So this is his personal practice of taking his feelings from limited to unlimited. I remember asking Dadi Janki this question. What do you do to take your feelings from limited to unlimited? And Dadi's own process. She first withdraws her attention from outside. She turns it inwards and just starts to detach from each of the senses. Detach from her hearing, her seeing, her touch. And as she detaches, she starts to feel herself, her unique self as a soul, this living energy inside that is the life force of this body. And as that energy of the soul concentrates behind the eyes, she takes the seat of the detached observer. And in taking the seat of the detached observer, she's observing everything, but she's inside. And then going deeper inside, it's as if she moves far and far away from the sensory world and becomes a witness to everything. Like she's seeing things but not seeing, hearing but not hearing. And then she catapults into the home and lets herself become completely bodiless. No awareness of the corporeal world. And now, what do I do? And this is what I found very special in sustaining volcanic remembrance, is that I know it's time to go home. And so for me, the pull to remain in deep silence. And so I start with a physical silence and peace of the senses. And just relax the senses. And then I step into the quality of the soul, of deep, deep peace. Shant Chit, the soul whose essence is deep peace. And I experience the sweetness of that peace. And then I go one step further and let myself be the seed. And experience dead silence. Om Shanti. So just as through these examples, you start to see what the effort is required to take your feelings from limited to unlimited, from gross to subtle. You have to work out your formula, your personal formula for taking yourself into the unlimited. And you know, this is the beautiful thing, is if this is your concern, that I want to go into the unlimited, keep an unlimited attitude, unlimited feeling, you will naturally, this aim will naturally inspire the effort of becoming detached. If you're struggling in your effort in remembrance, it means you've forgotten your aim. But the moment you're tuned into the feeling of your aim, immediately it starts to inspire being detached and the detached observer. And then it's not difficult to be the Father's companion. Because in order to sustain Baba's companionship, you need to let yourself become a detached observer. And to be a detached observer, you have to feel that concern and aim of the silence of going home. So each one of us has to figure this out for ourselves. Now, what's interesting for me is that what does the mind and intellect require to sustain a continuous form of fire? Right? You require capacity, it requires Shakti. And I've observed two things for myself. One, that the mind and intellect have to have the power to break. The power to break has to be very powerful. And by that, we talk about traffic control. We talk about being able to stop in one moment, go from expansion to essence quickly, fast. And I guess when Baba gives us the Maryada of traffic control, many just think, oh, well, it's just a practice. Actually, there's a science behind it. I don't know if any of you are aware of this, but in Japan, and for those of our BK brothers and sisters maybe listening from Japan, there's this practice called Kaizen, which literally means continuous improvement. And it's the 1 minute practice, right? This is the practice that helps you overcome old habits. Because on the pilgrimage of remembrance, you want to create sanskars of attention, good attention. And they start by mastering the minute. They don't start by mastering the hour. It starts by mastering a minute. And so in Kaizen, it's 1 minute. If you want to create an exercise regime, focus on 1 minute at a particular time in the day. If you want to break a food habit, focus on 1 minute, particular time of day. If you want to meditate, 1 minute at a particular time of the day. And Baba has given us 5 times in the day for traffic control. And so exercising the intellect at that time to master that 1 minute of full remembrance is what develops the power to break. Right now, full stop. Let myself completely be the point. Let the intellect become bodiless. Release all the bodily thoughts, ideas, images, concepts, opinions. Become bodiless. And the point. And stay there for 1 minute. This particular exercise, you'll start to feel. It releases your intellect, releases you from your tight nature. You know, our nature that controls us like a tight skin. And many times, instead of paying attention to our remembrance, we're probably experiencing the tension of our old sanskars and nature. So this particular power to break and holding it for a minute, it starts to create loosening of the nature. So that everything that is inside the soul has space to come out. My truth can come out. My love can come out. The powers can come out. The bliss, the peace can come out. Because if you're constantly in a thinking mode all the time, you are suppressing your original self, your original state of peace and love and benevolence. And you can't experience the lightness of being free, right? So the power to break. And then the second thing is the power to steer away from anything that isn't useful, right? So the moment a waste thought comes, is this what Baba would want? Steer away from it. Stay away from anything that is negative here. Very, very important. Just don't go there. You know, we have such temptations to want to tell ourselves a story why something is happening. Well, it's happening because of this and because of that. Stop it. Stop the story, drop it, and become the point. Stop it and drop it. Stop it and drop it. And if you do this again and again and again, you will find your past does not pull you anymore. These practices for the mind and intellect start to harvest power, because the form of volcanic remembrance is light and might. So the light aspect is the lightness of love, the lightness of cleanliness of feeling. And the power is the ability to concentrate and keep moving and shedding, harvesting my Shakti by breaking and steering, breaking and steering. And these two practices for the mind and intellect are extremely empowering, because this is what creates the feeling of light and might. On the one hand, I can say to Baba, Baba, I love you. And yes, Baba, I'm revealing everything. But if I don't have this practice in this day where I can master even 1 minute, then when I sit to have longer meditation, my mind and intellect won't obey me. They will just do what they did throughout the day. And so I will not have the power to lift off, the power to actually stoke the fire and make it bigger. And so it's so important that, we are able to, throughout the day, really use Gyan in everything. What does Gyan say? I mean, Gyan helps us to become powerful. It helps us to stay focused, get to the point. When we understand the point of something, we stay focused, and that focus generates power. But if we're not applying Gyan in our lives and simple basic things, and we're just hoping that something will happen by itself, it doesn't work like that. A Gyani soul acts with full awareness and full knowledge about something. So in my life, I have to ask myself, do I get the point of what I'm doing? Have I gotten to the point of the practice? Or am I just hoping that a technique someone has given me, if I just follow it, it'll happen? No, I have to get to the point. Keep up the effort, having understood the point of it. That's what intensity is. Intense remembrance is simply to keep up the effort, having understood the point of it, of being stable in the light and might house stage. So it means in my intellect, the light and might of knowledge has to be there. I can't just switch that off and act from a place of, desire, or I just feel this, or I feel that, or I feel the other, because it comes with a cost. Your own desires will defeat you. Your own desires will put you to sleep. That's how it is. And the beautiful thing about sustaining this, keeping up this effort, subtle effort of focused attention, means that over a period of time in that fire, what happens? Name, form, quality all starts to change. You are literally being transformed from a human to a pure Brahmin, from a Brahmin to an angel. And you are baked and you are cooked, and you have to sustain that attention no matter what. Eh? We often think, we have yoga, and we think, okay, well, only if my body is comfortable, I'll be able to have yoga. No, absolutely not. Sustaining subtle attention is an aspect of your intellect. It has no connection with your body. So even if the test paper is your body, you cannot let go of your attention. I will tell you a story about this. The first time Daddy Gulzar went into hospital a few years ago, and this was the time when Sister Little Mahini from Madhuban had just passed away. I'd flown from Greece to be in Madhuban. And on the way back from Madhuban, I stopped in Ahmedabad, in Memnagar. And Daddy Gulzar had just come out of hospital. And Neelu Ben said to me, please entertain Daddy. And I said to her, how am I going to entertain Daddy, you know? And then I thought to myself, well, what's Daddy's world? It's Baba. So let me talk to her about Baba. So I said to Daddy, you know, you're experiencing quite a lot of distress in your body. I mean, you know, you've got water in your lungs. Where is Baba? Does he come? Is he helping you? And Daddy responded by saying, yes, Baba comes. And I said to her, well, what does he do when he comes? And I thought she would say, well, you know, he gives me love, or he gives me, you know, a massage because my body's not well. And she said, well, Baba comes in the form of a checker. And I said, checker? What does he check? Does he check your health? Does he check your stage? What is he checking? And she said, yeah, he sees all of that, but he's coming to check where my attention is. This is Daddy Gulzar. Baba comes at the time when she's settling a karmic account with her chariot, and he's coming to check the attention of the child. Where is the child's attention? Reaching your destination of volcanic yoga is not like going to your auntie's home. It is going to require a deep commitment to focus, a deep commitment to stay attentive to that pilgrimage, no matter what. And it means a powerful break. So whilst performing any task, speaking to anyone, every now and again, stop the traffic of your thoughts. Attention. Master that 1 minute of attention in between again and again. Stop thoughts in your mind, everything you're doing with your body for 1 minute. And only by practicing and stabilizing in this stage will you start to experience the powerful form of the point, which is that state in which you can experience light and might. Right? It is now time to pack up your baggage. Eh? How many more excuses are you going to make to keep your old stuff alive? And the more you clean up this wastage in your life and just get to the point and everything, stop the traffic, 1 minute, stop everything, stabilize in the point. Your whole attentive function becomes like a laser. And in that laser, you can destroy sins, germs, even weaknesses. You know, it's like laser, they have laser ray technology now to dissolve cysts and tumors. It's the same thing. Volcanic yoga and that state of light and might and the powerful stage of the point creates such an intensity of attention that that very attention can destroy germs in a second. That's why when we go in front of the daddies, we would feel, wow, in Daddy's presence, something shifts. In Baba's presence, something shifts. And so devilish sanskars and natures can be burnt, literally burnt in that moment. Because it's not enough to just forget. You have to forget. You have to finish. You have to merge and burn. Literally burn it. Because this faculty of a pure attention, pure attitude, a pure attention on anything, it has the power to create miracles. It can, in 1 second, change an environment, change someone's attitude. And so, you know, I feel very deeply that the whole aspect of being able to sustain volcanic remembrance is to really deeply rooted in this awareness. It's time to go home. Let me keep my feelings light with love, open-hearted with Baba, nothing to hide. Let go of all the various forms of I. I still have time. I don't know. I don't know. All these forms of I. And powerfully merge. And this is what spiritual endeavor is. What is our sadhana, spiritual endeavor? It's this ruchi, this enthusiasm to make my remembrance powerful. I want to make my remembrance powerful because in that pure remembrance, there's so much love, light, and power generated that these vibrations can heal instantly. It is now the only method to serve the world. And I have to give 100% attention to this now. 100% to making my remembrance powerful. So whilst going into expansion, let me practice being stable in the essence. For example, here I am on one side. There's so much in the yagya still to do, like big yagya, big family. And I'm sitting in meetings every day. And yet, I know there are souls that are there that are handling the detail. I don't let myself go into the expansion of something too much mentally. Whilst the meeting is happening, I take that chance and go into the essence again. Because I have to accumulate the power of silence as much as I can, as much as I can. This was what I felt inspired by from Daddy Janki. Daddy would often say to us, whilst performing action, accumulate the power of silence. Which means let your practice become stable in the form of the essence every now and again, every now and again. And this is such a beautiful spiritual endeavor. It's so simple. It's just this kind of powerful remembrance and a constant relationship of the heart with Baba. When somebody you love is never out of your awareness, just as for a mother, it doesn't matter where physically a child is, that child is always in her awareness because there's a relationship of the heart. And so in everything I do, I'm directing my mind, heart, and intellect to the one. So if I'm sitting in the meeting, Baba, I'm sitting here with you, and then I'm in the meeting. If I'm listening to anybody, Baba, I'm directing my mind and intellect and heart to Baba, right? And then, Baba, I'm with you listening to that person. So I'm not listening to that person first and then I'm with Baba. I'm directed all my faculties to being with Baba in whatever situation I need to be in. And this is what creates concentration and detachment that allows the intensification of the flames to emerge. So, I feel that as we do this relationship of the heart that intensifies love and our personal practice of staying in the essence that intensifies power, this combined form of love and power and consistent attention to that, to keeping directed towards Baba. Let me keep all my faculties directed towards Baba in each step. That's what a relationship of the heart is. You're honoring that relationship. You're giving regard to Baba in each aspect of your life, which means you keep yourself directed towards him. So whatever it is you have to do in your life, you cook, you have a business meeting, first go into the essence, direct your faculties to Baba. And you will find that as you stay in essence, you start to accumulate love and power. And this account of accumulation is going to serve many, many souls. This is what makes you a tapaswi. You know? So finishing the carelessness and laziness of, oh yeah, let's just take a break and indulge in an ice cream. Let's take a break and let's take the second next source of energy, which is food for Brahmins. And Baba says, fine, eat, drink, do whatever you have, but remain detached. Don't let your karma affect your ability to be with Baba. Yeah? Be with Baba. Keep your faculties directed towards Baba as you're doing your karma, and stay in essence. Do only what is needed, no more. And as you start practicing and exercising like this, you will start to feel so light. You know, in this last few days after Baba's Abhyakt Murali, I felt Baba's pure hopes inside. Baba's saying to the children, children, my wish and my hope for you is to become equal and complete. And I could just feel it. And as I felt Baba's intention for me, and I embraced Baba's intention for me, I could see how quickly I could go into silence throughout the day. It was easy for me to pay attention. Every time I sat in a meeting, this intention would come to my mind. Be like Baba, be with Baba, stay focused. And the silence just keeps growing in the day. So I'm going to stop there because I've given you a broad perspective on this topic, the preparation that's required and the practice that's also required to be able to sustain focused attention consistently. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, Gopi Bhen. We do have a few questions here. Can I begin with my
Sure.
first? Yeah, okay. We do have some BK, some Brahmins who feel that they're still very happily enjoying Confluence Age, doing service for Baba. They feel that they're so happy to experience Baba's companionship. And here you were reminding us, like, we're going home, we're going home, we're going home. So how do we keep a balance in that? Like, yeah, I know I'm going home, but at the same time, I do enjoy doing whatever I'm doing for Baba. So I still want to enjoy Confluence Age. So what can we say to that kind of feelings that people, Brahmins, have for the confluences?
Well, I think there's a lot mixed in that question. What they're actually saying is, I still want to enjoy the old world. They're not saying, because what do you mean when you say you enjoy the Confluence Age? If you want to enjoy the Confluence Age, it means Baba's company, Baba's Gyan, Baba's service. It means everything that Baba wants. And if there's an interest in everything that Baba wants, then there's a natural disinterest in the taste of the world. Right? Now, here's the thing is, maybe I haven't yet accepted what Baba wants for me, that this is what I want for me. So there's a disconnect there. And so for me, it's like, yeah, I still got to live in the world. It's not about finding a balance anymore, about living in this world. The old world is finishing, period. And if I still haven't gotten it, if I haven't gotten the point of what's happening right now, then I'm just fixing my number. That's what it is. I mean, if you choose the happiness of Kali Yuga, right, with sometimes having a relationship, you're fixing your number. You're fixing your place in the cycle. It is how it is. But at some very deep level, when you are a true Brahmin, you cannot settle for anything less than 100%. Because otherwise you're not here and you're not there. Where are you? You're in no man's land. And tell me, what is there in this world today that's going to give you a permanent fix? Nothing. Nothing. Anything sensory is going to give you a temporary fix, a temporary kind of fix, like a drug fix. But when you start to experience the subtlety of Baba's presence, then you can sustain a different level of happiness. And for that, what I saw in the daddies is they were always intoxicated. You have to learn to keep yourself intoxicated with something related to Gyan, something related to service, to dharana, to yoga, to your relationship with Baba, to a newness in effort. You have to keep a certain level of intoxication alive that lets you stay in spiritual happiness. And if you don't create newness in your effort and keep an intoxication alive, then, you don't keep the reality alive. Where am I going? What's actually happening? Then you have these questions. Well, I have to bring a balance with the old world. You still need to settle in the old world, still need to do it. Fine. If that's what you want, that's what you're going to get, because that's the law right now. So, this requires a very deep and honest conversation with the self. How am I going to finish my story? When I face God in my final few moments, and Baba says to me, child, I came down especially for you. I came down to give you everything. I explained to you everything, how you can reach me. Child, why didn't you become complete in your efforts? Oh, well, Baba, I still enjoyed a coffee at Starbucks. It's okay. I'm not saying you can't have a coffee at Starbucks. My point is, it's like the attitude that I still have a support in this old world. Do you get my point? That I still have a support and a fix in this old world. That attitude has to change. I literally have to collect my attitude to one strength and one support, that I know no matter what, Baba is going to see me through everything, mentally, emotionally, physically. And so then I sustain the inner effort of keeping myself with Baba in everything. I don't check out in between and take the taste of the old world. And you know what? The funny thing is, you actually enjoy life more when you're with Baba. It starts to change your perspective inside. Because when silence increases inside, you start to see how God is working. You really do. You start to see the beauty in souls. You start to see the speciality. You start to see your whole perspective of life changes. And instead of becoming a passive yogi, you actually become a master creator with Baba. But it requires you to actually know that there is nothing in this old world that can sustain you anymore. And at some point, you have to figure that out here. Why is it in my mind I still feel there's something in this old world that can still sustain me? What do I still want? Get to the bottom of that and open that up to Baba and give that to Baba, because that's what's still keeping you distant from Baba.
I have another question. You know that the end is near, so you should still do service with full passion, which may take up a lot of your time. Or should you just focus more in yoga?
Attention is a faculty that goes beyond the polarity of physical, like time and action. It's attention in everything. So when I talked about attention, it's about where I'm at in myself when I'm doing things. Yes, I have to make sure that the karma I'm involved in, what we call service sometimes, is only the ego using the name of service to get its job done. Nowadays you ask young Brahmins, especially in India, what is it that you want? Oh, I want to become a motivational speaker. And I'm like, huh? Where's the aim of being a Raj Rishi, a Raj Yogi? Oh no, Brahmin life is a path of a career. I want to be a motivational speaker. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. All these subtle forms of arrogance, they use the name of service to get their job done. So first step is you have to see, is the service I'm involved in only an expression of subtle ego? And I'm just kidding myself to say it's service, but actually I'm being carried away by my ego. Or is it true service? Is it something that's really needed at this point in time? And have I taken guidance for what's needed at this point in time? You know, in a very honest way. So first you have to really clarify the scope of your actions. Are they waste? Are they being fed by your ego? Or are they purposeful, needed for this point in time? Second, if they're purposeful, like for example, you know, the work of environment, health, safety, the water, I mean, it's huge. There's so much detail involved. But I'm so clear what I have to do in it. I keep my bhavna of who I am, who I belong to, but then what do I have to do in it? And then Baba sends everybody else to fill in the other bits of gaps. So I don't let myself worry about what hasn't been done, but I continue to sustain my effort of remembrance in everything that I've been given to do as a duty. And what I'm finding is something amazing. I'm finding that I'm doing double service. My time and my thoughts and my words are being used in a worthwhile way. And at the same time, I get the opportunity to increase my remembrance whilst doing it. And I'm just feeling so fortunate that I have this opportunity to do both. That my attention, I've refined my attention to a point where I don't experience the conflict at the human level, right? Because I don't have wastage at the practical level. I'm not wasting my time. I'm being, not based on my ego. I have no interest in name or fame. I have no interest in trying to change anybody else. And I have a deep interest in doing what Baba wants. And I found that there's no polarity then. Within service, there's benefit, there's charity, there's the chance to accumulate silence in purposeful action. So the only time somebody asks this question is because they're wasting their time. And that service, maybe the service is driven by some form of ego, and the scope of service needs to be reviewed. Because when you're really purposeful and you're doing what's needed, it's coming from a place of remembrance. I'll give you a story. When Daddy wasn't given the role she had. She developed it. How did she develop it? Every morning at Amrit Vela, she would wake up, sit in front of Baba and say to Baba, Baba, I'm available for you today. From her heart, she put herself in the presence of Baba. And Baba, I'm available. And in that availability, Baba would then touch somebody's intellect. Daddy would get an invitation, this would happen. And at the same time, she had a churning practice. And whatever she used to churn, she would get those topics to talk on. So she always kept her energy circulating inside. She never let herself stagnate inside. That's why she was accumulating. She stayed light in the process. And because she was churning knowledge the whole time, every activity was meaningful. It became meaningful, right? So she never created that conflict inside herself. Oh, I've done too much service. Now I have to sit in yoga. Because if you create this whole attitude of I've done, there's a lot of service, there's still the I there, the heaviness of the I have to do service. I've done service. I have to do something. The heaviness of that is still there. That's why pay very careful attention to what real service is. And if you don't keep the balance of internal remembrance, let me tell you, your ego will step in and use the name of service to get its job done.
We have another question. Can you share how to have deep and intense relationship with Baba so that I can experience that lovely stage?
Dadi Gulzar, many years ago, when I was a child, she would say to me, write a letter to Baba every evening and you'll get a response in the Murli. And I would write a letter, put it under Baba's pillow in our Baba's room at home. And my relationship with the Murli developed that way. So my relationship with the Murli developed as an intimate, personal meeting with Baba. To this day, I always feel that Baba is speaking to me, right? So first of all, this whole thing of personalizing the relationship with Baba, that's so important. Because if you don't personalize the relationship with Baba, how can you let yourself go in love? This isn't just a general love. Baba chose me. Baba chose you. You know, I remember asking Daddy Kumarka this question. Why does Baba love you so much? And Daddy Kumarka said, because my eyes have never become trapped in any person or anything. She knows why she's special to God. I asked Daddy Gulzar the question, why does Baba love you so much? And Daddy Gulzar said, because Baba is in my sanskars and Baba is my sansar, my world. She knows the effort she's made where she's renounced all bodily sanskars of even looking after herself and imbibe Baba in her sanskars to be Baba's chariot. And then I asked Daddy Janki the question, why does Baba love you so much? And Daddy said, because I have made every one of Baba's directions practical, be it for dharana, service. So each one of these daddies know the effort and the speciality which is revealed through their effort that has drawn God's love to them. So I'm asking you the question, why does Baba love you so much? And that answer, you'll grow into that answer. The first basis of that is the Murli, my personal relationship with the Murli. If I'm not getting that feeling of a personal, intimate relationship through the Murli, then on what basis do you become Loveleen? If you can't feel that God is speaking to me every day and Baba is talking to me and it's my personal message, how do you develop your speciality? How do you recognize yourself? What's the mirror that you're looking into every day? So it's so important, personalize the relationship, deepen that relationship with God's words, those versions, and cultivate your mind and intellect in such a way that in every step you will remember what Baba says to you. Powerfully, it should echo in your heart. And as you remember what Baba said, that carries you into the experience of Baba's love for you. Because Baba's love for us is not just some airy-fairy thing. He has practically come down and spoken the Murli to us. Practically.
One last question.
Sure.
How to overcome painful repentance of past mistakes, which is continuously disturbing and not allowed to focus on current time?
The aspect of past mistakes. First, I have to find a way to forget it. I literally have to find a way to forget it. And if I don't find a way to forget it, I cannot forgive myself and the other person. So forgetting something doesn't mean denying it. It means releasing, making it meaningless, making it small enough so the tide of the drama can carry it away. In fact, the drama has already carried that moment away. But somewhere your consciousness is stuck in a moment in time. All right? So it's very important, first thing is making that event meaningless, bringing it down to its small intensity and letting the drama carry it away. Okay? And then second is if it comes up again, stop it, finish that track, keep stopping it, because we've built a habit of remembering the past. So stop and steer yourself away from it. You've given it away to drama and baba. Let the tide carry it away. It's not yours anymore. Tera, tera, tera. The more you say yours, the more you experience detachment from it. And then the third thing is merge. You must practice the full stop stage, because in that stage of being the powerful point, you can then have the power to truly merge something and burn it. And it's really simple. Just don't remember the mistake, because the more you remember the mistake, the more you repeat it. And it's interesting because the more you remember it, what happens is you invoke circumstances in the drama to remind you of it. So somebody will keep pointing out your weakness. Why? Why are you invoking that in your drama? Because you yourself are still sensitive to your own weakness and mistake. You still have a sensitive nature in relation to it. And so the more you remember it, the more you will be reminded of it by the drama. So what I'm saying is, if the drama has the common sense to take it away, drop it. Let it go with the tide. Don't even attempt to try and understand it. Just drop it. Is it worth it? Is it worth it against the backdrop of what Baba is giving you? So make it small, make it meaningless, and drop it. Okay.
Last question, and then
I think you can leave the question. She can lead us into the meditation, because the time is getting faster. So the other questions can be answered later. And so at least we can have a 5 minutes meditation before we say goodbye. Okay. So you can give commentary and take us into the meditation, Gopi Bhen. And the rest of the questions can be answered at another time. So Gopi Bhen, so now let us go into the practical experience so that they can take back the method. Okay, we don't have any music, Gopi Bhen, just
That's
in
no
silence.
problem.
No,
problem.
We just have in silence. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So wherever you're sitting, for a few moments now, bring your attention inside. Detach away from the senses of the body. And feel yourself inside. The Shakti, the life force, the soul. And at the depths of the soul is deep, deep peace. I am a master ocean of peace. Say this to yourself slowly 3 times in your mind. I am a master ocean of peace. And in this peace, you find yourself becoming a detached observer. And as your attention concentrates further, you become more and more distant from the physical senses and the physical world. You see but not see, hear but not hear. And then you let yourself get pulled into the home. And here you are the master seed, the master almighty authority. And you experience dead silence. And in this stage of being a master seed, with the supreme seed, the vibrations of silence carry light and might into the world. And this awareness of being the master seed allows me to experience all my power and virtues. And I can let myself become fully a lighthouse and might house of peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Shanti, Gopi Bhen, welcome. And now it's time to say goodbye. Anyway, on behalf of Malaysia and many other Asian countries, Singapore, Manila, Japan, China, many other Asian countries are also listening to you. So on behalf of all of them, many thanks. And I'm sure each one of us have learned a lot about volcanic remembrance. And I'm sure you will start igniting the fire of yoga. And as Baba says, the spark of destruction has to emerge from the sacrificial fire. So I'm sure this will ignite the fire of yoga, not only to burn the sins of the self, but for the purification, world transformation. So thank you so much, Gopi Bhen. So
Thank you,
have
Bhen.
Ishti for